Hello and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood, and today my husband John and I want to talk with you about one of the challenges in the mission field. Hello, love.
Hi, darling.
Today we're going to be talking about something that's a need. In most of our programs, we talk about what we're already doing.
Right.
High impact projects that are already out there.
Yes, things that are happening, and we can go and film and show you this is what's happening.
Right. Which countries do we work in? Let's just review.
Yeah, India, Thailand, Cambodia, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia a little bit, and Laos a little bit.
Okay.
So quite a number of countries in Southeast Asia, and of course India is Southern Asia.
Right. And we have around 50 projects.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. But the question is, or the real burden of this show is what we're not doing. And not just us, but what no one is doing. And the sad truth is that 99% of all missionary videos show what we're doing. And so the impression that is made on most people, most church members, is that a lot's happening. The gospel is going to every corner of the world, and there's a lot of missionaries out there, and there's a lot of projects out there. But the sad truth is that as you travel through these different countries, there is very little that is actually being done. And the little that's being done, we're focusing on that. We're going there, we're videotaping, we're saying this is what we're doing, and we're not really saying this is what is not being done at all. And there's vast swaths of God's vineyard that is completely untouched by the three angels' message.
Right. Are there statistics to back up what you're saying?
Yeah, one statistic is that I've been told by several different mission leaders that anywhere, I've been told 92% to 96% of all Christian giving worldwide goes to minister to the 8% that speak English. So let me say it again. That means that the remaining 4 to 8% of all Christian giving worldwide goes to reach the other 7,000 languages that are out there. So 4% of all Christian giving, the average Christian in the entire world, the ministry tools, the television stations, the radio programs, the literature, the Bible translations, all that stuff, they'll receive
a total
of 4% of all, 4 to 8% of all Christian giving goes to minister to those people.
Everyone outside.
Everyone outside.
Not everyone that knows the gospel already.
Correct.
But everyone. Unreached, reached,
right.
Everything.
Right. That means that 92 to 96% of all Christian giving goes to provide resources, spiritual books, translations of the Bible, television, radio programming to the 8% that speak English.
Wow, that's a huge disparity.
Yeah, so you would expect, a lot of people that are in English-speaking countries nobody will say that the work is done here in English-speaking countries. There's still a lot of work to do here. And there still needs to be work done in these countries. However, comparing English-speaking countries with non-English-speaking countries, the disparity in resources, attention, interest, knowledge about how to do ministry in those countries is like this.
So who are the unreached? What is the unreached? What does that mean?
Okay. The unreached is defined as less than 2% Christian. Okay, less than 2% of their population is Christian. And why do they choose 2%? Well, they found that if there's 4%, then those 4% Christians really can affect the whole, and that the whole people group may have greater opportunity to hear about Jesus. Whereas if it's like 2% or less, then the likelihood of the majority of any of them hearing even the name of Jesus is very slim. And so the majority of people in countries like that are born, live their entire lives, and die without ever hearing the name of Jesus in their own heart language, much less the story of Christ and what he's done for us and all this kind of stuff.
Wow. Well, that's a really sobering thought.
Yeah.
To think about that likelihood that they'll never hear.
Yeah, and it's going on all the time. A lot of people will say, well, God will finish the work if we don't do it. But what about the people that are dying today that never heard the gospel? Their time's up. Right. They don't have any more chance. And what about the people that are dying tomorrow or even next week? people that are living in areas that no one's not just, I mean, it's not that there's no Christian there and there's no plan to put a Christian there.
Right.
No missionary, no pastor, no church, no believer in those parts of the world. And no plans to actually go there. I mean, we say we need to, finish the work. I mean, almost every Sabbath I hear that term, finishing the work. But I don't see very many people saying, okay,
I want to be a part of it.
Well, some people may say even I want to be a part of it, but what does that really look like? That, I mean, in my mind, that would mean going to the places where there is no Christian and starting something there. Okay, this is what Jesus said. The gospel will be preached to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. Okay, that means every language. And there's like 7,000 languages out there. And praise God, our church is almost in 1,000. We're in about 925, maybe by now 928 languages. We've only got 6,000 to go.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge work to be done,
Right.
and it seems impossible.
Right.
But I believe that with the revival of missions, it's not impossible. In fact, it's very doable. 6,000 languages. What if we had 100,000 missionaries?
Yeah.
Frontline missionaries willing to learn a new language. All of a sudden 6,000 languages, well, we'll have to send more than one person to each language.
Yeah. Well, and some people do learn languages faster or more easily than other people.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that if we have difficulty learning a language, there's no place for us in the mission field.
Right.
Because we have missionaries out there that can't speak the language very well at all.
And they're
But they just
amazing.
show God's love in their lives, and they have a good translator, and
Right.
God makes up the difference.
Correct.
So
Yes.
there are really no excuses for us to not be involved.
Right. Except that maybe we want a good life.
Yeah.
The one that we can plan out, and that we can see, and we can expect and know what to expect, that we're in control. Yeah. There's still a huge amount of opportunity out there that we can take a hold of, that you say, okay, this is my piece. I get to help here in a place where nobody, and this is the purpose of this show, is to look at what we're not doing.
Wow.
Yeah. Part of that opportunity is that the fact that God has blessed, especially North America, the Western world, with extreme prosperity during the 20th century.
Yeah.
The prosperity is really increased. Unfortunately, giving to foreign missions has gone way down as our prosperity has increased.
Yeah, that's kind of a sad thought, isn't it?
Very sad.
That as we have more ourselves, we care less about the lives of others.
Right. What that demonstrates, or what that highlights, what that shows, is the human element in my human nature, that the more I have, the more I want. So that's the deceptiveness of riches. It feels like we need more. The more we get, the more poor we feel.
Coming back to the unreached.
Okay.
Where are they?
The majority of the unreached are in Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 90% of all unreached people groups live in Asia. And that's why we're Jesus for Asia, because 90% of all unreached people groups is enough for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can find them in different places. There's some in Thailand, there's some in Burma, there's some in Laos. I mean, different countries, many in India. And a people group is defined by having a barrier, some kind of barrier between their group and another group, whether it's language, or maybe they speak a different language, it's political, maybe they live in a different country, maybe geographical, there's a big mountain in between them. It may be historical, where one tribe used to eat the people from the other tribe, and so it's hard for them to...
The gospel doesn't cross those boundaries.
It's really difficult. And so there's all these different reasons why there's these distinct people groups. We're going to look at Thailand today. Thailand is a very comfortable country. It's convenient. It's very traveler-friendly, foreigner, tourist-friendly.
Okay, so we're looking at Thailand. We've established that. So where in Thailand are we going to be looking?
Okay. We've got Bangkok in the southern part of the big main section of Thailand. There's a little isthmus that goes down, peninsula. But Bangkok is right here, and then up in the north is Chiang Mai. And pretty much between Bangkok and almost a little bit south of Chiang Mai, a little bit north of Bangkok. A little bit north of Bangkok is the southernmost Adventist church, Adventist presence in that whole entire valley. It's a big flat valley. And then up in the north, way up in the north, up in the hills, there's another Adventist church. But you can drive for like 6 hours straight, 8 hours in a bus, and never come within 100 kilometers of another Adventist church. And so that whole Central Valley's got about 5 million people, no Adventists.
Wow.
In fact, there was no Adventists at all until about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago when someone intentionally went into Ayutthaya in the southern part of that valley, planted a church. And so that church is still thriving.
Right.
But the whole, from there all the way up, there's no Adventist presence, no member, no outreach center, no church, no pastor, no plan that I know of to even go there. In fact, just to give you a bigger picture, of all the 50 provinces of Thailand, the Adventist church is in like 22.
Okay.
So less than half of all the provinces of Thailand has an Adventist presence.
Right. And all Christian, not taking Adventist only, all Christian in Thailand is less than 1%
Correct.
of the country's population.
Yeah.
So there's a huge need.
Yeah.
So this first video is from when you went to Sukhothai. Now, Sukhothai is a city of how many people?
About 35,000 people.
Okay.
And it's in the northern end of this big valley, this big plain.
Okay.
It's the rice basket of Thailand.
Okay. You went there in October with your dad.
Yes. First time I got to take him to Thailand.
Right.
He took me to Thailand when I was 5.
Right.
Now I get to take him to Thailand when he was 85.
All right.
He loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's watch the video now.
Okay. There are many areas in the world, there are many cities in the world in which there are no Adventists at all. We are in a little city called Sukhothai. It's about 35,000 people. It's actually difficult to talk about and to know what to show, because normally we just go and we meet other Adventists and then they show us the work that they're doing. But here there are no other Adventists, so we're going to go out into a town that knows nothing about Seventh-day Adventism. We have a strawberry smoothie. Yeah. You want something? Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's all right. I'm gonna get rid of my change finally. 40 and Captain Cup. Try this out. Wow. Not bad. Yeah. So this entire valley has no Adventist church, no Adventist member, no Adventist presence at all. And that shouldn't be. God has already given us this city. It's just a matter of claiming it, stepping forward by faith, trusting that He will provide the people and the resources to make an impact in this city. Because I believe God has His children right here in this city. So I'm excited to see what God's going to do. But let's move on down the street here. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but there are hundreds of people out here. Hundreds. And they're just out for the evening. Friendship evangelism is a serious option here in Thailand. Let's see what we got going here. Okay, I'm going to order Pad Thai J. Yeah. So we're in this little roadside cafe, and I just bought this food for $1. And I look around and I see all these people out here eating their supper, and I see there's hardly any, maybe less than 1% of all the people that we see are Christian, of any denomination. And there is no Adventist in this entire city. No church, no member, no pastor, no missionary, nothing in this entire city. And it just breaks my heart, because here these precious people have no idea that Jesus is coming soon. And so what can we do? Well, the most important thing is to pray. And if man works, then man works. But if man prays, then God works. And that's powerful. So please pray for Sukhothai.
It's really sobering to think about all those people and no witness among them.
Yeah. And it was really weird to be in that city and think and know that there's no other Adventists whatsoever.
Wow. Yeah.
And I know there's places like that here in America, you know, and that shouldn't be either. But you go through vast areas with there's the likelihood of it happening over there, of something happening there is very small.
Right.
So
at the end of the video, there was an aerial shot of, it looked like some ancient ruins of some kind. What was that? Well,
this city, the first time I went to this city was on a little tour group, and we were going to see the ancient ruins. Sukhothai was the capital of Thailand way back in the 1200s. They were capital for about 140 years.
Wow.
So that's what those ruins are all about. In the next video, we'll be walking through those ruins.
All right, let's watch that now.
Okay. One of the challenges of being a missionary, doing missionary work in Thailand, is that it feels so comfortable, feels so normal. And when you drive down the road, you don't see a lot of, grinding poverty. People have cars, they have houses, there's not a lot of trash on the street. And so you don't see the need, but there may be physical prosperity, but at the same time there may be spiritual poverty. Unless we start to peel away the surface and see that there may be a heart cry for deeper meaning, deeper hope, connection with God. Those are the things that we're wanting to bring into this country. Most of the people don't know a Christian and don't know what it means to know God, and the Christianity that they may have seen may have been only what they saw in the movies. So how can they know what Christianity, what Christ actually stood for? So we're claiming Joshua 1:3 today. It says, "Wherever you place the sole of your foot, I have already given it unto you." So God is opening up a door here in Sukhothai for His word to go forth, for the three angels' message, and for the establishment of a beacon of light here in this city. And how is He going to do that? I have no idea. It's impossible as far as I can see, but the truth is that God has His ways. Because in this entire valley, from here all the way down, you can drive 8 hours straight south and not come within 100 miles of an Adventist church. And so this would be like first step, and so on and so forth. So what do we need to make this happen? Well, the first thing is we need somebody that's willing to give their lives, to set aside their own interests, set aside their own lives to come and pursue God's kingdom in this place, in Sukhothai. And that's the main thing. God can provide all the rest. He can provide the funding. He can provide the ideas, the resource, whatever is needed, but it's that person, that family, that couple, whatever, that's willing to come and just settle here. A lot of people retire to Thailand. It's a beautiful and comfortable country, but there's some huge challenges. Number one, the language, culture, separation from home, from family and friends back home. And those will be the challenges. But God can overcome those. We just have to step out, and the gospel of this kingdom will be preached before the end of the world will come, before the second coming will happen. And so I believe that Sukhothai is part of that prophecy. And Christ says, go, and as you go, if you go, I will be with you, even unto the end of the world. It's amazing when you're there. Although, it's easy to blow through a town, just drive through the town and keep going and not even think about it. But when you stop and you think, you look beyond what we see, and we see eternal realities, the second coming. It's like, and then you start meeting people, and it's not just a statistic anymore. It's somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Then
they have names, they have faces, they have lives, they have hearts, they have stories.
And Jesus knows them, and he's with them every day. Right now, he's there with them.
And they don't know.
And they don't know.
Now, you talked in that video about God opening a door, and then toward the end you started saying, I just want to bring that point out again. What kind of door is God opening?
Okay. It's by faith. We don't see anything yet.
It's because of claimed promises.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Because what we're praying for, we don't know what we're praying for. It's like, how do you start a work when nothing has ever been started there? And the best I can think of was, well, maybe an English language school, maybe some kind of service we can provide to the community. Maybe it's just somebody to go there and live a Christian life and pray. Maybe have a worship center. Maybe a couple that can pray on a regular basis together, have their own worship, start making friends. Maybe there's some curiosity built up. Maybe they'll, like with the Sharons, people in the village just stayed back and just watched for like a whole year. And then they're like, wow, this is awesome. And now all of a sudden a bunch of people want to become Christians, just by watching, because the majority of these people have never seen a Christian. They have no idea. They think maybe, well,
they've learned about Christians from movies, which is not a good thing.
Exactly.
Hollywood movies are not a good example of what a Christian is.
Yeah, America's a Christian country, so America must be what Christian, and it's not what we believe a Christian life is really like.
Right.
And so just to be there and provide that example.
Right. Now, about 5 hours south of there, there's another city.
Yes. Yeah.
And what is that city?
That is Nakhon Sawan. It's a city about 2/3 of the way down that big open valley. It's the largest city in that whole area. They say it's a population of about 135,000. But with a surrounding area, it could be up towards 1 million with all the different little towns and villages scattered around that place.
Okay.
And we went down there also. We drove about 4 or 5 hours south and spent the night in that city. Not a single Adventist, not a single church. And at this point, as far as I know, no known plan to even start something there. And so we went there and we prayed.
Okay. And we have video.
Yes.
Okay.
We're on a hill overlooking the city of Nakhon Sawan, a city with over 120,000 people in it. And yet, there's not a single Seventh-day Adventist in this entire city. Not a pastor, not a congregation, not even a single church member that we know of. And I think that needs to change, because we have no representation of Jesus Christ and his soon coming with the three angels message and the health message and all those things woven together in the beautiful way that we know it. What I found in the last day and a half that we've been here is that I have very little passion for the lost. And that's really sad. Born and raised an Adventist, hardly any passion for the lost. Does that mean that I'm really close to Christ? Or is there a gap? Is there something I'm missing in my experience and in my life? But coming here has helped me to realize that, because here is a city, 120,000 people, not a single Adventist. What does that do to me? What does that do in my emotions? Am I stressed? Is it just, oh, it's an interesting fact. Oh, somebody should be a missionary. Well, how come nobody's, well, or is it like, okay, Lord, what would you have me do? Here's my life. What would you have me do? And what am I willing to sacrifice for someone that has not yet had the opportunity to know what I know, what we know? What would Jesus do? What did Jesus do? He took that step. He did the cross-cultural thing. Am I willing to follow? Yeah, because this is where the joy is. Can you imagine starting a church, starting something that no one has done? And it's like Paul saying, I will build on no man's foundation. This is fresh. This is like a big smorgasbord with God leading of spiritual feasts. These are God's people out here. They just don't know it yet. They don't know that He's their daddy. Will you tell them? Will I tell them? I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to do everything I can to see that the gospel gets to this city. Yeah, so that was my pledge. With all the other projects we have going, best I can do is pray and just present this to God's people. You know, we're put together as a community, and this commission is to everyone.
Right.
And maybe there's somebody out there that would say, wow, there's a need. You know, I want to surrender my life to God's need. And everyone that I know that has done that has ended up blessed.
Right. So there's need for prayer.
Yes.
A lot of prayer for God to raise up the right people and to open the right opportunity.
Yeah.
We can't just go somewhere and assume we understand the needs of that area.
Correct.
We don't know if they need a literacy place, or they need an English school, or they need a computer lab, or who knows?
Well, they might need all of that.
Yeah.
So God knows what would be most
Exactly.
effective.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to pray.
Yeah. And this is where giving to Jesus for Asia will help us be able to go into places like this, to rent a place. Maybe somebody's willing to go, but they don't have support. So let's go rent a place and even put a Thai national in that place, a couple that can just pray and see what God does. Better than doing nothing, right?
Right. Better than nothing.
Better than nothing.
If you would like to join Jesus for Asia in sending the gospel to the unreached people groups there in Sukhothai and Nakhon Sawan, to these beautiful people that Jesus loves, please pray. Pray for laborers that are willing to go out into the harvest field. Pray for the people to be willing to hear and able to understand what this beautiful gospel is that we have to share with them. If you would like to give financially, you can send your tax-deductible love gift to Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. Please, please pray for these beautiful people in these two cities, that they will be able to know the Lord before it's too late for them. May God richly bless you until we see you again next time on Jesus for Asia Now.